11. Vaccination of special populations for COVID-19 vaccine. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused significant morbidity and mortality throughout the world, as well as major social, educational and economic disruptions. There is an urgent global need for effective and safe vaccines. On the 31st of December 2020, WHO listed the COVID-19 mRNA vaccine for emergency use, making the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine the first to receive emergency validation from WHO since the outbreak began a year earlier. The WHO Emergency Use Listing Procedure, EUL, is a risk-based procedure for assessing and listing unlicensed vaccines, therapeutics and in vitro diagnostics with the ultimate aim of expediting the availability of these products to people affected by a public health emergency. Populations for which supportive data from Phase 2/3 clinical trials. 1. Older people. The risk of severe COVID-19 and death increases steeply with age. The efficacy and safety of the vaccine are comparable across all age groups, above the age of 16. Vaccination can be given for older persons. 2. Persons with comorbidities. Certain comorbidities have been identified as increasing the risk of severe COVID-19 disease and death. The vaccine has profiles in persons with various underlying medical conditions, including those that place them at increased risk for severe COVID-19. The comorbidities include hypertension, diabetes, asthma, and pulmonary, liver and kidney disease, as well as chronic, stable and controlled infection with human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, hepatitis C virus, HCV, and hepatitis B virus, HBV. Vaccination can be given for persons with comorbidities that have been identified as increasing the risk of severe COVID-19. 3. Populations above the age of 85 years and very frail older persons were not included in the clinical trials. The safety and immunogenicity data obtained in a large subset of older people with and without comorbidities suggest that the benefits of vaccination outweigh the potential risks. Vaccination for older persons without an upper age limit. 4. Children and adolescents below the age of 16 years. There are currently no efficacy or safety data for children or adolescents below the age of 16 years. Until such data are available, individuals below 16 years of age should not be vaccinated. 5. Pregnant women are at higher risk of severe COVID-19 compared to women of childbearing age who are not pregnant, and COVID-19 has been associated with an increased risk of preterm birth. The vaccination of pregnant women is insufficient to assess vaccine efficacy or vaccine-associated risks in pregnancy. It should be noted that the vaccine is not a live virus vaccine. The mRNA does not enter the nucleus of the cell and is degraded quickly. The benefit of vaccinating a pregnant woman outweighs the potential vaccine risks, such as in health workers as high risk of exposure to COVID-19. 6. Lactating women. Breastfeeding offers substantial health benefits to lactating women and their breastfed children. Vaccine efficacy is expected to be similar in lactating women as in other adults. The safety of COVID-19 vaccines in lactating women or on the effects of mRNA vaccines on breastfed children. As vaccine is not a live virus vaccine and the mRNA does not enter the nucleus of the cell and is degraded quickly, it is biologically and clinically unlikely to pose a risk to the breastfeeding child. A lactating woman who is part of a group for vaccination, like health workers, should be offered vaccination on an equivalent basis. 7. Persons living with HIV may be at higher risk of severe COVID-19. There were no reported differences in safety signals. HIV-positive persons who are well controlled on highly active antiretroviral therapy and are part of a group can be vaccinated. The administration of the vaccine is currently insufficient to allow assessment of vaccine efficacy or safety for persons living with HIV who are not well controlled on therapy. It is possible that the immune response to the vaccine may be reduced, which may alter its effectiveness. Counseling about vaccine safety and efficacy profiles in immunocompromised persons should be provided to inform individual benefit-risk assessment. It is not necessary to test for HIV infection prior to vaccine administration. 8. Immunocompromised persons are at higher risk of severe COVID-19. The vaccine-associated risks in severely immunocompromised persons. It is possible that the immune response to the vaccine may be reduced, which may alter its effectiveness. Immunocompromised persons should be provided to inform individual benefit risk assessment. Persons with autoimmune conditions, although these persons were eligible for enrollment in the clinical trials. Persons with autoimmune conditions who have no contraindications to vaccination may be vaccinated. 9. Persons with a history of Bell's palsy. Cases of Bell's palsy were reported following vaccination. There is currently no conclusive evidence that these cases were causally related to vaccination. Post-authorization safety surveillance will be important to assess any possible causal association. In the absence of such evidence, persons with a history of Bell's palsy may receive unless they have a contraindication to vaccination. 10. Persons who have previously had SARS-CoV-2 infection. Vaccination may be offered regardless of a person's history of symptomatic or asymptomatic SARS-CoV-2 infection. Viral or serological testing for prior infection is not recommended for the purpose of decision-making about vaccination. The added protection of vaccinating previously infected individuals is yet to be established. Despite the potential for reinfection, the symptomatic reinfection within 6 months after an initial infection is rare. Persons with PCR-confirmed SARS-CoV-2 infection in the preceding 6 months may delay vaccination until near the end of this period. The length of this time period may be revised. For the use of COVID-19 vaccine, vaccination of persons with acute symptomatic SARS-CoV-2 should be deferred until they have recovered from acute illness and the criteria for discontinuation of isolation have been met. There are no data to support of a minimal interval between onset of symptoms and vaccination. 11. Persons who previously received passive antibody therapy for COVID-19. Vaccination in persons who received monoclonal antibodies or convalescent plasma as part of COVID-19 treatment. As a precautionary measure, vaccination should be deferred for at least 90 days to avoid interference of the antibody treatment with vaccine-induced immune responses. Vaccination logistics. The vaccine currently requires ultra-cold chain distribution and storage conditions that will be challenging in many country settings. When assessing the feasibility of deploying the vaccines, immunization programs should consider the cold chain requirements, the current minimum number of doses per shipment, the need to administer a whole batch of vaccine within a short time frame after removal from cold storage, and the need to ensure bundling with an adequate independent supply of the correct diluent. Conditions must be met to avoid exposure of vials to sunlight and ultraviolet light when scheduling vaccination for occupational groups, like health workers. Consideration should be given to the reactogenicity profile observed, leading to time off work in the 24 to 48 hours following vaccination. Appropriate medical treatment to manage anaphylaxis must be immediately available. This vaccine should only be administered in settings with the necessary resources and trained health workers, and in settings that allow for at least 15 minutes of post-vaccination observation. In considering the program implications of implementing the vaccine, particular attention should be given to equity, including the feasibility, acceptability, and effectiveness of the program in resource-constrained settings, for example, how to ensure ultra-cold chain storage and the need to be able to provide treatment for anaphylaxis. In order to confirm the safety profile demonstrated in the short term, active surveillance of large numbers of vaccinated individuals is necessary in the general population for a longer duration, as well as of specific at-risk subpopulations. It is essential for Pfizer-BioNTech and vaccination providers to report the following to adverse event reporting systems in countries: all vaccine administration errors, serious adverse events, cases of multisystem inflammatory syndrome, MIS, following vaccination, anaphylaxis and other serious allergic reactions, Bell-S palsy, and cases of COVID-19 following vaccination that result in hospitalization or death. It is not easy for everybody. We are all mentally, physically, emotionally, financially drained. Each and every one of us should cooperate and contribute for the safety delivery of the vaccines. Each country worldwide should abide by the set rules and regulations recommended by the World Health Organization and the government involved. We are hoping for a smooth delivery of the vaccines, and for the pandemic to end. Then we can go back to our new normal lives. We are all in here as one with one spirit. We will heal as one in fighting against this virus. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Like and share this video and put your comment below. Thanks for watching. See you on my next video. Ma salama.